Hey guys, what I'm about to share today is key to our expansion, whether we are focusing on our enlightenment or our soul mission or whatever it is on our journey of spiritual expansion. This code is really, really important. Okay, so there's a couple other side tangents that are important here today as well, but the code is this acknowledgement that it can be and it can be both. Okay? It doesn't have to be either or. It can be and it can be both. Now, how this manifests in typical spiritual seekers is that they believe that it's either I focus all on my enlightenment or I focus on my life. I focus on serving and creating something that is of meaning to me. It can be and it can be both. You don't have to choose between these two things. These things actually expand together proportionately. But also, when it comes to stepping into who you are as an expressed human being who has gifts and light and beauty and depths and talents to offer, you need to develop this capacity to own how it can be and a both within yourself as well. So why we struggle with the and both is probably an echo from our scarcity conditioning, let's be honest, either or. But really, I think it's in the mind and the mind's tendencies, and the mind really wants to find truth in the extremes. The mind really is not at home in working with the nuance and finding truth in the nuance. It's either yes, no, right, wrong, left, right, white, black. It's all those kind of things. That is the mind's extremes of truth, and that's where it will look for it. If you have any kind of fear about your expansion, about your spiritual progress, about anything like that, just so you know, your mind is going to work extra hard to collapse you into one of these extremes because it's compensating and it's trying to support you. So for seekers to truly evolve and mature, they need to move away from being in the extremes. And also just in every area of your life, you need to recognize it can be an and it can be a both. So how this manifests, sometimes even in myself, it's like, oh, I really want to do a lot, share a lot. I want to do a lot of group programs. I really want to do that. But then it's like, oh, but I also want to go deep within. I'm also feeling quite reclusive. I'm also feeling that my consciousness wants to expand and I just want to sit in stillness and just this big meditative bubble. And then I'm like, whoa, it can be and a both. The desires of both arrive simultaneously because both desires are required to be met, to be nurtured, to allow the fulfillment of what it is that I am calling on as a soul. So wow, because do we see this happen in ourselves all the time, guys? We think it has to be an either or. Think about it and just like watch this happen in your life after this. So we think it's going to be an either or, and the mind struggles with the nuance. So how this looks in the spiritual path, the mind struggling with the nuance is the mind's like, oh, we need to focus on this or this or this. This is the way or that is the way. The nuance is that the way is actually a spectrum. The way isn't one side of the extreme. The way is the tension between the extremes, the contrast between them. There's this center point of resonance where seemingly contrasting desires are actually pointing you towards one central thing. So, hello mind, don't be so trying to pull me into the extremes. And can we realize it can be and it can be both? So when we learn how to work with nuance, when we learn how to let go of the tendency to try to collapse into either one of the extremes of truth and find solace in an extreme, when we learn how to work with nuance, and nuance will look like being able to hold a belief about a situation that acknowledges where it is this and where it is that. And it may seem like it contradicts itself, but that's like the paradox of it. And actually the truth requires you to be able to hold all aspects of where it is a paradox and where it contradicts in order for you to really be with that truth. So truth and the ability to be with truth is the ability to be with nuance and the ability to hold the tension. So that's like a side thing of this video, is this whole recognizing we can have and we can have both in our life. And now I just want to talk a little bit more specifically about why I do not believe the enlightenment path and the empowerment path are separate from one another. And it's not been my experience. It's not been what I've witnessed. I've witnessed them both expand together all of the time. I recognize that the expansion of one is crucial for the expansion of the other. Like they are interdependent. They work symbiotically. And if you are really in one of the extremes, then you're actually going to suppress the natural flow and the natural desire to actualize in a certain direction. And I see this in people who are insecure about their enlightenment. They're like, I'm going to lock myself away in a cave. I'm only going to focus on this. Anytime you say anything about reality, I'm going to counter it with a non-dual view, because I don't believe that you're including the non-dual view in what you're saying. You may have seen these people. And the reality is that when you create this type of insularity and this type of just like, you actually don't allow your energy to flow, and your expansion and your self-realization, all these things want to happen naturally if you are open to all the gifts that are coming to you and to your life. But you have to be open. So more on why I believe these paths are not different. So what happened to me yesterday was I was in the zone for my new group program, Depth and Space, and I was feeling very strongly the frequency of knowing your true nature and how I uniquely teach that, and just feeling how excited I am for us to go so deep with that, and just feeling like, oh, wow, I'm really feeling that frequency. And then I was also feeling the frequency of actualization time, guys. Like, who wants to get clear about what it is that they're here for? Who wants support taking action? Who wants to crystallize their unique role? Who wants to understand the way that their gifts can be used in the world? Like, feeling so excited about the people in my world and the people in the program deciding to use this as an opportunity to go deeper in their service. So then I was like, hold on, these two things are different. You need to choose between one of these frequencies. And then I was like, no, we do not, because you are assuming that there's a contradiction between these frequencies. And on this process of seeing that there isn't actually a contradiction between these frequencies, seeing where they are interdependent, seeing where they're intertwined, seeing where they're inseparable from one another, actually connected me to just like this center core that is weaved together from both of these different frequencies. And this is like, we're all made up of the masculine, feminine, yin, yang. Like, we're also made up of these frequencies that weave together. How I was really seeing it was almost like that kundalini snake. There's like the two snakes that go up with the center pillar, and really seeing how these different frequencies that we're going to work with in this container create that central pillar. So I could see that these two things deeply support each other. Some of the reasons for that from a logical standpoint. So the frequency of your calling, when it wants to expand, it's a greater amount of energy coming through. Simple. Bigger energy. More energy. Your vessel needs more space to hold that energy, to host that energy, to stream that energy. So how does that happen? That happens through letting go of your conditioning, letting go of where you are calibrated into a partial view of yourself and a mistruth, and creating more space for the frequency of truth inside of you. How that expansion in that space happens is through letting go of mental programs, and through allowing the ground of being, like the clarity of your awareness within yourself, to expand. When that does that, you have more capacity for a higher bandwidth of your calling, and not to mention, you become more anchored. Anytime you are being asked to step up in your leadership, to step up in your responsibility, to hold a greater frequency, well, by golly, you had better be anchored within yourself. You need to be anchored. There's no choice but for you to be anchored. That's a non-negotiable. And the more anchored you are, the further you can take what it is that you're sharing, and the more of a reliable conduit that you are for its frequency. So anytime you expand in your soul mission, you have to expand in being anchored in this way and in this direct recognition of yourself. And now I'm talking about people who consciously know that they're on this path of self-realization, and they're interested in this, because there's lots of people on the path of creating big missions and serving a lot of people that don't care about self-realization. Their soul's not inclined in that way. Now, just want to cycle back and say that maybe in certain phases of your life, it feels important to isolate on a certain intention, isolate on your self-realization, get obsessed with it, or another time, isolate in on your mission. And these periods of intentional focus and just really going deep, that's fine as a chapter, but I'm really putting in here just the overall acknowledgement that it is an and a both with your self-realization and your self-actualization on this path. Enlightenment and empowerment go hand in hand, and I'm talking about empowerment from the truth of your nature, not the empowerment from your ego, not false empowerment. It cannot really be true empowerment unless it's rooted in your true nature and in what you know yourself to be as source. And it's not real empowerment if it's the thing that your ego wants to get. So I could add a lot more points on that, but you can get the feeling from what I'm sharing. And really the main acknowledgement here is to ask yourselves, where are you collapsing out of truth because of you're believing that it has to be either or, and you're not allowing yourself to hold space for the tension and all the range of desires, all the range of frequencies that you want to work with. Where are you being asked to hold greater space for the greater range? Realization of your nature is the realization of yourself and the essence of more of a diverse range of frequencies. So it begins by just recognizing your nature in the non-dual state, and then it goes on to recognizing the non-dual state within yourself and that essence of creation, that fundamental aliveness that everything has in everything that you see, and experiencing that natural state of your essence in all activity, not just in the meditative focus. So this knowing of yourself has to expand, and it has to go further and has to include more of creation. And when you decide to go further with your mission, what you do is you are bringing in more stimulus, more circumstance, more activity, and basically you are playing deeper into the game of samsara, but you're being given the choice to do it from a place of freedom. And the more you can play from a place of freedom, the deeper your enlightenment goes. But it's not the same as just having that enlightened recognition in an echo chamber. It's just you, and that energy is a little bit different from how that recognition inside of you interfaces with circumstances, the world, this samsaric reality, right? I think you guys get that. Okay, sending you all so much love. Oh, and Depth and Space, guys. That's my group program I was talking about earlier. It begins on the 1st of November. We have our first call on the 5th of November. And if you haven't been in a group with me already, I absolutely love creating group spaces. I put a lot of effort and intention and love into making the most amazing journey for us as a group. And this is going to bring you through an upgrade in your consciousness. It's going to simplify the process. This is one of my big intentions. Simplify it, make it accessible, and support you to uncomplicate your internal process. So if you want to know more about it, I've written about it in a post, or you can contact me and talk about it. And yeah, just follow your call, right? Like, I purposely don't want to put out a load of information because I want you guys to learn how to feel those calls. And this is not informational, this is initiatory. And if you're being called to this soul initiation and you need to work with this frequency of seeing how it can be and both for you, by the way, if you're called to this soul initiation, you'll know. And perhaps you know, and you're gonna go back and forth around it, and you need to talk to me about it to get clear, whatever it is. I'm excited for this group. And this is not really an informational journey. My work isn't informational. My work is experiential, energetic, and there's no way that you can't step out of the 49 days without having transformed, because we have 14 sessions that take you through an energetic transformation. I have a certain way that I work to guide you, and you're not just this is not a space for you if you're just going to sit back and want to consume. If you want to actively engage in your transformation, all you have to do is follow the instructions and collaborate with me and lean in and bring your energy to it, and bada bing, bada boom. Okay, guys, bye.